comfortable with what we are doing, or is there something we could do different? Dennis, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself. Are you comfortable with our pace, or should I slow it down, or should I speed it up, or is there something I can do different to make you understand better? Dennis, are you there? Hello, Dennis. If you can hear me, unmute yourself so we can hear you. Dennis, are you there? Okay, obviously he may not be there. Who else? Is there something we can do different, or we should just continue the way we are going? Nathaniel, please unmute yourself. Tell me, should we continue the way we are going, or is there something we could do different? Or am I too fast? Am I too slow? Yes. What is the difference between software development and back-end development? Now, when it comes to building a software, before you build a software, you need to see how the software should look like. Example, if you want to... Okay, who's speaking?
It's me, Nathaniel.
All right, Nathaniel, go ahead.
Okay, sir. So we are very okay with the way we are going. Just that
all right.
If there is possible, maybe in terms of dropping video, maybe earlier than Monday or Tuesday, like we used to, it will help us at least.
For that,
maybe if we can get it either on maybe after the class or maybe on Sunday, so we can go through it.
Okay, I will actually tell the team to see if it's possible. But if it's not possible, it's fine.
Okay, sir.
All right, Dennis, we are still waiting for you. Dennis, if you can hear me, unmute yourself and tell us. Okay, so I was trying to explain the difference between software development and back-end development. And when you want to building a software, it's like building a house. Some persons want to build a house. They don't need house plan. They don't need architecture or anything. They just start building the house. And at the end of the day, by the time they are done, the house might collapse or something might go wrong, or it might not come out exactly as they want. But some persons, before they build a house, they get an architect who will draw the design of the house, how it will look like, so that when they start building, every part of the house will follow exactly the design of the house. That is the same thing with software. Before you build any software, there has to be somebody who will design it, how it will look like. And when you start building, it will look exactly like that. So the person who is going to be designing that is a front-end, a product designer or a UI UX designer, as the case might be. After they finish designing, the next person in the software development process is the front end. The front end will take that design and bring it out to code, so that it is no longer a design now. It is now functional, as in you can see it. It is now performing. You can click buttons, you can touch it and feel it. So the front-end developer will bring out that. But that will come out without a soul. It's just like when God created man, the way the Bible made us to understand. And God molded man first. So when he molded him, if you've seen where they carved that image before, or they molded a structure before, you know that structure is there. You can touch it, you can feel it. Before the person that molded that and finished molding it, maybe he had a picture of what that sculpture should look like before he molded it. So the molding there is like the front end, but it doesn't have life in it. It can't do anything. It can't. It's just there. Then the back end will bring in life to it. Now it can see, it can talk, it can move around, it can move his hand, wave his hand, and all of that. So if we are we can actually say a software is more like a sculpture. Somebody will design it, somebody will mold it, and somebody will bring life into it. So the back end is the life. The back end is the brain, the heart, the logic. Without the thing, the whole thing will just be there like structures that has been molded. You can feel it, you can touch it, but it won't do anything for you. It is just there. It won't do anything for you. So, but so the difference between software and backend is one of the processes in software development, whereas software development is a combination of all the processes, including backend, including front end, and also product design. All of them put together is what we call the software development. But backend is a part of software development, like that. All right, so I think we've answered that, and no more questions. We can begin today's class. All right, first thing I want to do is to create a folder like usual, and where do I have it? I'll start with, do I have JS1? I have JS1, I'll create JSS2. Not actually JSS2, but JavaScript 2. Okay, I have this. The second thing I want to do is create an index file for my HTML, then bootstrap it with exclamation mark. I have that. The third thing will be to create a JavaScript file, index.js, and link my JavaScript. That's a script. How do I fix that? Okay, hopefully we may have network issues, but don't be afraid. I am with you. Yeah, even if the network is not with you, I am with you. Don't worry. All right. I just created my HTML file, created my JavaScript file, and linked my JavaScript file here. That is all I have done so far. So, but this is what I will advise. Please, please, please. Today's class is very, very important. In fact, from today to subsequent classes. All right, let me check again if I'm actually recording. Yes, I am. I'm recording this. So today's class is very important. Same thing goes for other classes to come. This is not the point to assume you know something. You must know it. Like if I teach it, make sure you know it. Don't assume you know it. Even if it comes out in assignment, don't assume you know it. You must know it, and you must know it well. The reason is this. A front-end developer can get a job even if he doesn't know it. A front-end developer can just get a job even if he doesn't know it. A front-end developer can get a job even if he fails the interview. He can still get a job. But see, back-end, if you don't know it, you don't know it. And there's no guesswork. Because like I said, the back-end is the soul, is the breath. Without the back-end, it's not functioning. There's a particular story about one back-end developer that was working in a company, and the company is a startup, raked in millions of dollars, had money, but the backend developer made one mistake and deleted the database. Bam, and that was the end of the company. As in, one mistake from a backend developer will be the end of that company. Let's pick any company in Nigeria, that maybe any financial company. If you just make one mistake on the back end, I think there was a mistake one time that this company made that does in crypto. My friend works there, I forgot the name. The CEO had to pay money, as he paid a lot because there were so many court cases. And let me inform you, as a backend developer, if you make one mistake, the next month they are serving you a court case. They are serving you they serve you paper. You are sued to court. So this guy that deleted the database, his matter is still in court to date because that company can never run again. Imagine what will happen if you own a bank, if you have a bank account and they tell you that all the money you have in your account have disappeared. It's not like the money have disappeared. but the records have disappeared. So there is no way to prove that you actually have that amount of money in your account because the data has all been wiped off. What will you do? What will you do? I'm not going to mention MMM, but if you know what happened to MMM, that's good. So, but which is why whatever we do in backend, you don't guess. There's no guesswork. It's not hard though. Backend is very simple. It's not hard, but you have to do it with full assurance and 100% confidence, even when you are not confident. You just show them that you are confident, especially what the doctors do. They don't know whether they know it, but they just tell you, we know what we're doing. We're on top of it. We're happy. We'll do this. We'll do that. But at the end of the day, the person will still die. So, but for backend, you don't want them to know that you don't know anything, and you don't want to do a guesswork. Even if you are guessing it, be sure. Even if you are in the interview, they ask you, "Are you sure?" Say, "Yes, I'm very sure. I am very sure, 100% sure." So whatever I do, make sure you know how to do it, please. So the first thing I want to do is to create a variable. It doesn't do much. Actually, let me just use console first, and then open up this with live server here. And I will say this, a lot of persons are going to be discouraged. I don't want to do backend. This coding thing, nothing command from inside. These so many stories. But the truth is this. The world is changing and is leaning towards tech. I know some people are saying, "Oh, tech it's a little full. There is no jobs in tech." That's not true. There was a time, I think it was in 2021, in 2021 or 2022, thereabout, we had a discussion, and it was said that in Nigeria at that time, the number of startups we had was about 1 point something. Yeah, I think so. Startups, not big companies now. I mean, startup people who are just starting companies. They're about 1 point something. And it was considered that the number of developers around was not enough for the startups in Nigeria already. So that made it, companies were not hiring developers from outside, especially from India. Some of these companies included Flutterwave and so on and so forth. Yeah, so these companies were hiring from outside. And the reason is because we didn't have enough developers here. And on top of that, we then have senior developers. What they do, if they come to a certain level in their career, they will quit their job in Nigeria and look for a job abroad. And why is that? The reason was because startups in abroad, like in the UK, if you can hear me, please drop a thumbs up if you can hear me. I don't know. I know I'm going to be having network issues because it just finished raining, but I hope it doesn't happen. If you can hear me, please drop a thumbs up. Whoa. If you can, all right. Thank you. Yeah, bear with me. It has been raining the whole day, and I just hope we will not have that network issues. So, like I was saying, now developers, senior developers in Nigeria, they tend to look for jobs abroad. Why is that? Because now, of course, the ones abroad will pay them very well, but startups abroad cannot afford to pay developers who are already living abroad. The reason is the cost, or maybe the expenses for developers there runs in dollars, and you can't pay them that amount. It will be smaller, but they can afford to pay developers in Africa, especially Nigeria and Kenya and so on. So they can pay Nigerians in dollars, and it will be big money in our eyes. So senior developers who are good at the job, who can actually stand the test of time, can apply for those jobs and are paid in dollars. And as so doing, they are no longer working for companies in Nigeria. I know one particular company, not one, so many companies in Nigeria that lost all their developers to this case. So Number one, the developers in Nigeria are not even enough for startups in Nigeria. Number two, developers in Nigeria are actually looking for jobs abroad, and a lot of them are moving abroad. Not like some are still staying in Nigeria, working abroad, but others are moving and leaving Nigeria, as a matter of fact. And some of them, a lot of them, I don't think they were born as developers. They were not born as developers. They were not born as IT guys. They had to learn, start from small, learn, finish, and then get those jobs and move on to become senior developers. So if that is not enough conviction for you to put in your best, I don't see what else there is. And I must say this, I have students who have traveled abroad. Some of them are doing well, some are not. And the reason why they are not doing well is because at the time when they had the opportunity to learn coding, they learned coding jokingly, hoping that, oh, I'm going for my master's. So since they're going for master's, what am I doing with this coding? But let me just have an IT skill. That's what they felt. Now, by the time they were done with the IT skill, as in they are done with the master's, it is time to start doing something. And they discovered that a lot of jobs there are bound for developers, like so many jobs for developers, but they have an idea of the job. They can't really do the job. It's a different case here in Nigeria. In Nigeria here, we cut it some slacks. My first interview with South Korean guys, those guys show me shaggy. Like, I don't mean, I mean, if you know it, I was sweating during the course of that interview, and they noticed it and they don't care. They want to be sure that you are grounded. So if you go there, it is the same thing I'm teaching you here, the same thing they're doing there, no difference. And that's one thing I love about tech. It's not like our chemistry, physics, and maths, which some of the things we are doing here is not what they're doing. But when it comes to coding, exactly what you're doing here is what they're doing everywhere. So I've had my own fair share with foreign interviews and all of that, and I also work with. Yes, I know it's very bad, but it's fine. My network is fine. All right, so some of these students, they've got opportunities. I know a family friend of mine. I taught him coding, and he went abroad. He did his masters, and they started calling me to come over to that place. When I told him, "Now it's not yet time for me to come over," he reached out to my dad and was not telling my dad, "No, I must come over to Canada." But my dad was like, "Okay, it's my decision when I'm ready." Now, not knowing that he has finished his masters and he needs to start learning again to learn coding, but he wants to have me on ground to learn it this time. So why am I saying all of this? There are people who know coding. They have an idea of how to build softwares, but pay them money to build softwares. They will go and look for somebody else that will build the software. They will be the middleman. Those are the kind of persons that got the opportunity to learn, but at some point, they didn't really pay attention to writing the codes themselves. They have an idea. This is not the time to have an idea. This is the time to be able to do it on your own. So the reason why I'm saying all of this is we have passed that part of beginners where I have to introduce you. No, we have entered the logic where you would think for yourself. This is the part you start doing it with your hands. You start reasoning and doing it. And you must have a reason for every decision you take. This is why I'm doing this. You take it like that. And also for those who don't like attending classes, may not really feel it, this is also to motivate you. When it comes to tech, I don't think there is anybody that will tell me you learn tech and you'll not get a job, except you don't know how to do it. That is the only time you will not get a job, if you don't know how to do it. But if you can do it, you will definitely get the job. You will. And when you tech is going to test you. I always tell my students this thing. Tech will test you. Until it tests you, you will not get anything good out of tech. Tech will test you to the point where you will need to question your decision to learn it and say, is this worth it? You're going to come to the point where you feel like, should I just give up or should I continue? It will test you real hard. It might be data, it might be light, it might be you miss one class and you're struggling to catch up again. It might even be the instructor is saying some things that is annoying you. Something is going to test your decision to learn tech. And that is the point where that if you get to that point, congratulations, that's the point where good things start coming out. But if you back down, it's your choice. I have a student, he was going to go for NYSC, and he was learning. So the parents say, go for NYSC, we're going to sponsor you, we'll give you all the money you need, everything you need to go for NYSC. And he came to me. I told him it's not my choice. It's not my decision to make. It is his. I will just give you all of this thing. You make the decision. He begged me. Then one day in class, the students were also asking the same thing. I said, you know what? Quit that NYSC. Learn tech first. He dropped NYSC and finished learning tech. Now, before he finished learning the tech, somehow, a job came to me. And I dropped it on the platform for 2 persons. He was one of the first person that got picked. And I didn't even know that he has applied and has gotten picked. It was after the next day, the class, he then said, oh, he got that job and stuff like that. I was shocked. I said, wow, really? So yes, he was still learning, but he has finished the job. And he said he's going there 3 times in a week and he's doing stuff like that. And before we finished, before we finished, he joined them fully. And then later I was then asking about the NYSC. He said he's not doing NYSC now, he's doing NYSC when he's ready, or I may not even do NYSC. The opportunity might come, but that opportunity will test you first. It will really, really test you. That is the only time you'll get something out of it. If it hasn't tested you, wait, it is coming, it will test you. Tech, I had to quit my job. I quit. Like I was doing it and I quit. And it wasn't easy. I wasn't even seeing money for food. I quit. And I'm not saying you have to quit, but I'm just saying you may not know what your test will be. You may not know. But please, at this point, if you ask me, I would say give it your all. Give it everything. That is the only time you get something out of tech. My mentor then would say tech has to be your main chick. If it is your side chick, you won't get anything out of it. Coding has to be your main chick. Every other thing will be the side chick. If coding is the main chick, you'll get a lot out of it. So we said a lot and we're back to coding. I've been able to create variables, not me. We have been able to create variables. We've been able to create strings, numbers, booleans, null, and undefined. We have also created arrays. We've also created objects. And we've worked with that. Now we need to move on to the logic part of it. The first thing we want to talk about is loops. Now there are different loops, and so many of them. There is the for loop, while loop, do in loop, for in loop, so many loops. But I'm just going to teach you 1 or 2 that you need to know, and then later on I'll teach you other loops too, higher array loops too. So I just teach you maybe 1 or 2. A loop. Whenever you want to do something over and over and over again, then you need to use a loop. For example, I know some of you might be playing music with your phone. You can put it on repeat, and it will keep repeating that song over and over and over again. That's a loop. You can decide to put the whole playlist on repeat, and it will be playing all the songs on that playlist. Or you could just decide to put all the songs, all the music on your phone and repeat, and it will be repeating all the songs. So that is a loop. It does the same thing over and over and over again. We are going to test it over and over again. So when you want to write a loop, you will tell the loop 3 things: when to start. For example, if you want to select the music, you first select the first place where it will start playing. So the loop needs to have when to start. It should also have a when to end. And increment the flow. I'm going to explain that part. So these are the 3 things that every loop will have. There is a place where it will definitely start. there is a place where it will end. Now, a music loop, for music, you can decide, okay, it is only when I stop you, that is when you will stop. Otherwise, keep playing. Sometimes you can have, you get the app. I know some app like Boomplay, it has its own, I think if it plays, is it 3 times or 4, it will stop playing like that. So you need to have that. And also the loop should know how to move to the next one. That is what we call this increment the flow, how to move to the next one. So we are going to start with a while loop. A while loop. Can you, if you can see my screen, please drop a thumbs up so that I know you can see my screen. If the font size is okay, also drop a thumbs up so that I know it's okay and we can continue. Please, please, please. All right. Thank you, course rep. Any other person? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So first thing we want to do is to create a variable, say a is equal to 0. We say while. So a while loop will have these 3 things. The first keyword is while. It will have brackets, which is parentheses, and then it will have curly braces. So these 3 things make up a while loop. It has these 3 things: a while, the keyword while, and the bracket, parentheses, and it's curly braces. So, but you have to put the 2 of them together so that you know we get. Yeah, you can actually separate them if you want, but I like putting them together so that I know they are together. So I will open up the stuff. Now, when to start, when to end. Now, you know, computers start counting at 0. So we are telling it start from the beginning. That's what this 0 means. Start from the beginning. So 0 means start from the beginning. If I put 1, it means it will skip 1 and start from the other one. If I put 4, you know how many it will skip and you know where it will start from. So starting at 0 means that. And then stop at when a is less than, or should I say, let's say less than 5. Let's use a small number now. 5. And what do I want to do? What is the special action I want to do? So here is when to start. Here is when to stop. And what do I want to do? I don't want to do much. I just want to console log the word first. And then increment the value plus plus. And I think this is where I need to teach you something before I do this. So let me take this. I will take this off and do something like this. Let b be equal to 1. And then I'll say b plus plus, and then console log b. Now, if I have a variable called b, and I say the value of b is equal to 1, if I say b plus plus, it means add 1 to the value of b. B plus plus means add 1 to it. And then b minus minus means subtract 1 from it. We can test that by saying b plus plus and save it. Now you see the value of b here on line 19 is coming out as 2 here. The reason is because we are saying increment the value of b by 1 here. So on that note, I will ask, if I do something like this, looking at my screen, what do you think will be the value of b? What do you think will be the value of b? What do you think will be the value of b from my screen? Six. So I will save this and see what I have. I have 6. So let's make it a little bit interesting. B minus minus, B minus minus, and then here B minus minus. Now I will separate it so that you can actually see it very well. What do you think will be the value of B? Now, what do you think will be the value of B? Somebody says 2, 2, 2, 3. Don't do guesswork. We don't do guesswork here. 2, 3, 2, 4. 2, 3, 2, 4, 3. No guesswork. 3, 3. So I have 3 persons saying 3. Might be 3 might be the answer. Okay, 3 is popular. 3 might be the answer. For those who have said 2, you still have another opportunity to change it. Those who said 4, then for people who said 3, you still have opportunity to change it. All right, let's see what it will print out. Okay, if I save this, it printed out 3. So here the value of B is 1. If you do plus plus, it becomes 2. Minus minus, it returns to 1. Plus plus, it becomes 2. Minus minus, it returns to 1. Plus plus, it becomes 2. Plus plus again, it becomes 3. Minus minus, it becomes 2. Plus plus, it increases to 3. So I had to bring this in because I was teaching loops. So we are saying start at position 0, which is the index, and we have a while loop, and we are saying so long as A is still not, what should I say? So long as A is still less than 5. Now A here is this variable. So we are saying so long as that variable, the value is still less than 5, keep printing first. Keep printing it. But for every time you print it, increase the value of that A by 1. So this is what a loop is. You tell it when to start from the beginning, when to stop. Now, so long as the variable, the value is still less than 5, continue to console log first. But for every time you console log it, increase the variable by 1. So what will it do? Here, the value is 0. It will come here, check it. Is 0 less than 5? Yes, 0 is less than 5. It will print this and then add 1 to the variable. The value becomes 1. Then it will check again. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, 1 is less than 5. It will print out this. And then increase the value again by 1. It becomes 2. And then it will check. Is 2 less than 5? Yes, 2 is less than 5. It will console log this and then increase the value again to 3. So, and it will check again. Is 3 less than 5? Yes, it will print it and then increase the value to 4. It will then check, is 4 less than 5? Yes, 4 is less than 5. It will print this again and it will increase the value of 4 to 5. Then it will check, is 5 less than 5? The answer is no. It will not print this again. The whole loop will stop and it will break out of the loop. So from my explanation, let's check how many times it's going to print out this. If I save it and it says B is not found, where did I write B? Okay, this console log. Remove this here. Save that. Assignment to constant operator. Okay, the value of this should be let, not B. Sorry. And save. So it printed first 5 times. That's what we have here. It printed first 5 times because it is starting at 0. So it will print it 5 times. If I change this to maybe 10 and save it, it will print it out 10 times. But I want to do this. From my explanation, how many times do you think it is going to print out this? Now, even if you get it wrong, it's fine, but I just want to see that you understand. 10 times, somebody say 10, somebody say 11, 6 times, what are you here? 11, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 11. All right, we are all correct, but I think we're missing one part. So what I have here is start at index 0, start from the beginning. Now, the value is going to check, is 0 less than or equal to 10? So it is no longer checking whether it is less than. It is also checking whether it is equal to. So these are two signs here, less than or equal to. That is what it will check. So by the time it increases the value to 10, which means it will first print 10 times, but the value of the variable is now 10. It will check, is 10 less than or equal to 10? So 10 is not less than 10, but 10 is equal to 10. So it will print it out again. That means it will print it out 11 times here. If you don't understand it, that's fine. But this is a loop. Now, I'm not doing anything with this loop. I'm just doing, what will I put it? I'm just console logging something. I'm going to show you how to use it later, but let's just start small. The next thing I want to talk about is a for loop. Let's start with the for loop. Maybe you understand what a for loop is. So start with for, write the bracket, and then curly braces. Now, the same thing with a while loop. It have this bracket and it also has the curly braces. Now, the curly braces is where you put the action you want to perform. And we're also saying we're using the variable 10. We can actually declare another variable and call it, let's say, we can declare another variable. Now, but for loop, it is written in a different way. You start inside the bracket and say let x be equal to 0. Let's not use x. Can I use something else like b? Let b be equal to 0. That is when to start, where it will begin. Then provided that b is less than 8, that is when to stop. And then b plus plus, increase the value of b. So for a for loop, you have the three conditions in one place, the three of them in one place: when to start, when to stop, and incrementing the variable, as in how to go to the next one. So here it will start at this and then this. And I want to believe that these conditions are clear. You understand what these three things are doing here. You understand what each one is doing. And then I have console log. Let's say try again. So this is how you write a for loop. Like I said, a for loop must have these three conditions: when to start, when to stop, and how to increment the variable or the variable you are using. So, and the three of them are already here. So it means that this loop is complete. Nothing is missing again. The way we write a for loop and the way we write a while loop are different. But those three conditions must be there. The three of them must be there. So I have a while loop. Okay, but let me see if you can hear me. Who will I ask? Cost rep. Where is cost rep? Okay, Cynthia, you go. Can you hear me, Cynthia? Okay, you can. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes, I think, yes, we are recording. So, like I said, or like I was explaining, the three conditions are here: when to start, when to stop, and how to increment the value. Now, I want to believe that you understand or you get the idea. Now, if I put something like this and ask you, looking at my screen, how many times do you think it is going to print out try again? How many times do you think it is going to print out try again? Somebody says 7. 7. How many times do you think it is going to print out try again? Somebody says 6. There should be no guesswork. Well, I want to believe that you just do 2 and 2 together. 8 minus 2 is 6. So it's going to print out 6. Okay. Somebody says 6, 7, 6, 7, 5. Okay. So let's run it. It printed it out 6 times. Now, it is a little tricky, but we get logic. It's a little tricky. What I'm saying is, provided that the variable is less than 8, meaning it will start at 2, check it, 2 is less than 8, it will print out this. Now it will increase it and keep increasing it till, so it will run for 2, it will run for 3, it will run for 4, for 5, for 6, and for 7. Now the 7th one will make it 6 times. Then it will check, is 7 less than this, it will run it. That's the 6th time. When it increases 7 to 8, it will then try again. Is 8 less than 8? 8 is not less than 8. So try and understand, when you have less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So these are 4 different signs which you will use a lot as a backend developer, especially, and it's used so many times. We'll come to that, you understand it. So here we are not checking whether it is equal to, we are only checking when it is less than. So it is not going to print for 8. But if you put an equal to here, then it changes the whole game. Now it is checking, is it less than or equal to? That is the time it will print it out 7 times. But without that, it will print it out 8 times. Now this is for a simple loop. We can take it a step further and say something like console log my name, David, my name is equal to David. So I want to use a while loop and print out all the characters in my name one by one, print them out one by one. So I will say for start from the beginning, let I equal to 0. Start from the beginning. Stop at when I is less than, how many? Let me just say 6. Let's say less than 6. And then what else again? Increase the value of I. Console log my name. So it printed out my name 6 times. Is this the perfect way to explain it to you? Or I would have used an array. Okay. It's going to print it out 6 times. Now, what this is doing is it is printing out the whole string. But that is not what I want. I want it to print out the individual letters of my name. And how do you do that? You know that the D is at index 0, A is at index 1, V is at index 2, I is at index 3, and the D is at index 4. So if I change this to 0, it's going to print out D 6 times because I actually indicated the one at index 0. If I put 3 and save it, it's going to print out I 6 times because I explicitly indicated index 3. But there is a way to go from 0 to 6. We know that this variable will start at 0 and it will definitely get to 6 because we are increasing the value here. So what we can do is replace this with the variable I. So that means when I is 0, it is going to print out the one at index 0. If the loop increases I to 1, it will then print out the one at index 1. If the loop increases I to 2, it will print out the one at index 2. So in this loop, we are using one stone to kill two birds. One of them is the I is used to control the whole loop. The second one is I is used to tell the index of this string. So if I save it now, I have it printing out D A V I D and printed out the last one undefined. The reason why it is printing out the last one as undefined is because the letters of this character does not have index 6. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But if I reduce this to like 5, okay, don't worry, Cynthia, we're going to explain that later. And save it. I will use another way to explain it so that we understand. Let me comment this out. We'll start JSS1. JSS1 is an array. It will be an array of strings. The first person is GG. The second person is DD. The third person is KC. Fifth person is GU. Okay. How about my name.length? Exactly. We're coming to that. Yes, we're coming to that gradually. So, yes, with them, you can use any letter of your choice. Any letter. What we want to do is we have a class list here of a student. This can be applied even in an exam or maybe for JAM. You may be working as a developer there and the director will say, I want to see all the names of students that wrote JAMs, all the names. Or maybe you are working for a school and the supervisor comes and say, can you show me the list of everybody in this school? I want to see the names of everybody in this school. So we are just trying to see if we can use a for loop to print out the names of all the students in JSS 1. What we want to do is use a for loop to do that. So a for loop, we can say let K, we are using a different letter now, wisdom. Let K be equal to 0. So we are saying start from the beginning. Start from the beginning. Provided that K is less than, let's say 5. K is less than 5. And then increase the value of K. like that. What do we want to do? We want to console log the names of JSS1 students. Now, if we do it like this loop is going to run 5 times. Because it's starting at 0, it will run 5 times. But it will print out the whole array 5 times. It is printing out the whole array 5 times. But that's not what we want. We want to show the names of everybody one by one. And we know that in an array, to select something from an array, you put square brackets and you put the index of the one you want to select. That is how we select something from an array. So instead of printing out everything, we can then put square brackets and then put the index of the one we want. So if I save this, it printed out GG 5 times, which is not what I want. My network is slow. Okay, so it printed out. Who should I ask? I am. Is my network slow? Can you hear me? Use the mic if it's possible. If you can hear me, class rep, it's my mic. I said my mic. My network slow. Okay, I think it's back now. I think it's back. Okay. If you can hear me, please drop a thumbs up so I know you can hear me. Good. All right. So like I was saying, to select something from an array, you use square brackets and then you add the index of the one you want. Yeah, I think it will be slow, but that's fine. It's slow, that's fine. If I save this, it's going to print out GG. It printed out GG 5 times. The reason is because we specifically said it has to be the one at index 0. So that is why it is printing GG 5 times, because GG is the one at index 0. But we don't want to print out only one. We cannot be coming back to this code to change 1, change 2, change 3, and change 4. Okay, the class is still on. Okay, now for those who are following, let's continue. What we know is that the value of k will increase from 0 to 5. So why not use the value of k here? Because we know that value of k will start with being 0, then it will move to 1, it will move to 2, and it will move to 3, and so on and so forth. So if I save it now, I have it that value of k was 0, the loop ran, and it printed out the index, the item at index 0. The loop will increase it again to 1 and print out the index 1, print out index 2, and then print out index 3. But it still went ahead to print out undefined, which is what I want to explain. We are using k here as a stone to kill two birds. The first stone is to control the loop, to tell the loop when to stop. That's the first bird. The second one is we are using the value of k to tell the index of the item we want to print. Because k will start at 0, it will definitely print the one at index 0. K will become 1, it will print out the one at index 1, and k will later become 2, it will print out the one at index 2. K will later become 3, it will print out the one at index 3. But we know that k, the value of k will reach 5, but the items we have here are not up to 5. Again. Okay. So I think you can hear. I don't know if you can hear me. Mm, mm, mm. Who will I ask now? Mm, 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 mm. Who? Wisdom. Can you hear me? Can you unmute and respond if you can hear me? Okay. Okay. Yes. 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 Mm.
Yes, sir. I have a question, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So, sir, my question is, in a situation where, first of all, for the condition, stating the conditions, we can choose any letter of our choice, using it for the condition.
Yes.
Then, secondly, let's say now we have the first array. Let's say we have another array, and we call it GS2.
2 arrays.
Now, how,
Okay.
if we are given a condition and want to print the, let's say, key, how will the loop know that, okay, we are referring to either GS2 or GS1? Won't there be confusion while
Okay.
printing?
Okay. That's good. Let me answer the question. Now, the first thing is this. Forget the fact that I am using one letter. It mustn't be one letter. We can use a word as the variable. We can use a word, a full word as our variable. The word, the letter there is my variable. So you can use a full word as your variable. Whatever your variable name is, you can use it. It mustn't be letters of the alphabet. No, it must not be. It can be the name of anything that you want. That's the first one. Yes, today's network is not friendly at all. You console the key in the let instead of the value. Cynthia, I don't understand this question, but we're going to take it. Let's finish with wisdom. So, wisdom, let's assume we have 2 arrays here. This one is for GSS1, the second one is for GSS2. And you are asked to print them. It depends on what the instruction is. If they say print them separately, then it means you will be using 2 different loops. Now, this loop here, if I duplicate it, even though I am using the same variable here, it's not going to affect it, because I know that wisdom for here is different from the wisdom in this loop. So there are two different variables. That is for when they ask you to print the two arrays differently. But if they say print the two of them together, there are so many ways to do that. The first thing will be to join the two arrays together by saying const jss1 dot concat. I could say joined. Let me say variable is equal to jss1 dot concatenate jss2. So this here is a method that I'm trying to use to join the two arrays together and print them as one. So it depends on what the instruction is. If they say print them out separately, joined with less than 5. So I don't want to go with 5. I can go with 10 because it's now more than 5. And you know what? So that I be sure that is actually all of them. So I can change the names so that we know that it's actually printing all of them. So what I did was to join the two arrays together, and then the one I got by joining the two of them together is what I am now console logging joined. So it depends on what the instruction is. If they say print it out separately, the variable you are using here has no business with the variable you are using here. It will not conflict. There will be no confusion. So even if I return this to k, the k, then do the same thing here, return it to k, it will not conflict. Now remember that when I was teaching you the difference why we use let and const instead of var, it is because var keyword is not scoped. You can define the variable in your house. If I call it in my house, it will respond. So if you use let to define your keyword, if you call it in this array, it will respond. But if you call it here, it will not respond because the loops are different. So there will be no confusion in that area. But it depends on what the instruction is. And Wisdom and Cynthia, can we take your question? I did not really. Can you use the mic? I didn't understand what you were asking. Cynthia, can you go ahead? Unmute yourself. So can this loop be used for a music player in a user if the player exactly? Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Can. Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir. I said I've
Okay,
been
you have
cleared.
it
I've
cleared up.
not understand.
All right.
Yes, I've been
All
cleared.
right.
Thank you.
All right. That's fine. Okay, let's continue. Yes, you can use this loop for a music player. You can, but there are so many loops. These are the two we want to start with. We're going to talk about other higher loops later, but with these two, you can loop through anything you want, anything. Whether it's an object, no, not really an object. You can loop through any array you want, like that. So, what else? That's for loops. But do you have any question on these loops? Any more question on loops? Wisdom, okay. Wisdom, go ahead. Use the mic. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Apart from the plus plus way of incrementing, is there any other way that can be increment or a condition can be set apart from using the plus plus, or that is just the way it should be?
This way now, what we are doing here, we are increasing it by 1. You can decide to increase it by 2 if that is the condition you want, as in skip the other one. So instead of saying plus plus, you can do something like plus equal 3 or 2 or 1. So you are just adding on 2 or adding on 3 to it. So, but if you do like this, you're also adding, let's try this. It is still printing out. If you increase the value to 2, you know it will skip some of it. If you increase the value to 3, it will also skip some of it. If you increase it to 4, it will still skip some of it. And if you increase it to 6, it will skip some of it. So what we are doing is we know that what's the essence of doing plus equals 1 when you can just do plus plus. Now the number of letters here is more than, this is 1 letter more than the plus plus. So the plus plus is just to increase it by 1. But if you want to increase it by any other number, you can. But knowing that it will skip some of it. Because instead of increasing it to 2, if I do something like this, and I say start at index 0, it will print out this. By the time it comes here, it will do 0 plus 2, and that is 2. And then it will print out the one at index 2 and skip the one at index 1. But if I do something like this, 4, and say start at 0, it will print out the one at index 0, come here and do something like 0 plus 4. So 0 plus 4 is equal to 4. It will skip the one at index 1, index 2, and index 3, and print out the one at index 4. So by so doing, it will skip, which one? Let's see. We'll save this. Okay, which one did this skip? It printed out H, and this is, it's not printing out all of them because I use 10. It's more than 10, I think so. 1, 0, I'm sorry, 0, 4, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Even the number is confusing me. So the increasing it by 4 is confusing me. I'm trying to figure out, but I know that it will skip some of it. Okay. Yeah, so it's joining this one. Let's console log this first and see what we have. Console log joined and save it. So join starts with G to here, and there are 8 in numbers. Okay. Since there are 8 in numbers, alright, that's why it's printing undefined. It will skip it and print out the one at index 4. When it's done, it will then add 4 to 4 again, which will now be 8, and skip it. So that is why it printed out index 0 here, printed out index 4 here, and then by the time it's adding 4 again, which is the 8, it will print out undefined, which is now 8, like that. Idris, I understand. So this is what I was trying to explain. Idris, we have it here, plus equals. Plus equals means instead of increasing it by 1, increase it by 4. That's what this plus equals means. Add 4 to it. If I say 3 plus equal 3, it means be adding 3 to it. So instead of increasing it by 1, we're increasing it by 4. So meaning that initially it will run, the value of k is 0, it will run and print out the one at index 0, which is this GG is at index 0. From what we have here in the array, GG is at index 0. So which is why it printed out GG first. Then when it comes here, it will do plus 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. It will then go and print out the one at index 4. No, index 5 actually, because it's starting at 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is why it's printed out HH here. HH here. Now it will come back again and do 4 plus 4 is 8. So it's supposed to print out the one at index 8, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there is no 8. So it printed out undefined. But if you reduce it and say increase it by 3 and save, it will first start by printing the one at index 0, then add 3 to 0, it becomes 3. If you print out the one at index 3, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, JU, it printed out that one, and then it will then add 3 to it again and it becomes 6. It will then print out the one at index 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then trying to add 3 to it again to become 9. So to print out the one at index 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there is no 9. So it printed out undefined. So that's why, but to keep it simple, we just do plus plus. Plus plus means increase it by 1, and it will not skip anyone. It will not. It will print out everything, but it's still printing out undefined 2 times. This is the part where I want to explain better. It's printing out undefined 2 times. Now, some of you backend developers are maybe you are going to build your own backend, but in some cases, you also gain access to other people's backend. For example, you might build a backend that will expect users to pay money. So if users are going to pay money, there are 2 things involved. Either you will build your own payment gateway, or you will use a payment gateway that is already there, which is possibly Paystar, Flutterwave, and any of that. Or let me use another scenario. Somebody might come to you and say, I want to build a blog. So I'm building a blog for my website, but I don't want to write any news. I'm not good at content writing, but the blog is my own. What I will do is I will connect you to Linda Ikeji's developer. So whenever Linda Ikeji writes anything on his website, it will automatically reflect on my website like that. So what you as a developer will do will be to liaise with the developers on Linda Ikeji website, and they will be sending you an array containing all the blogs on their website, including the ones they will add later. So all of them are going to be coming as an array. So if they are coming as an array, do you know how many blogs she has written? If you don't know how many blogs she has written, why will you then say stop at 10? Because you want all the blogs, and you don't want it to print out undefined, because if it prints out undefined, something is wrong. They will not pay you. So how do you do it that it will end exactly where the number of blogs in that array ends? It will not print any extra, and it will not leave out anyone. Remember when we talked about the properties of an array, we are able to get the length of an array. So for arrays that you are not the one that created them, you are not seeing them, you don't know the length, and possibly new items might be added to it. Meaning, even if you know the length today, the length might increase tomorrow. Do you need to go back to your backend and then update the number again and deploy? No. So you work with the length of the array. If the array increases, the length will increase. If the array reduces, the length will reduce. So what you do is you say stop at when it is less than the length of the array. So this is the perfect way of doing it. So instead of saying or adding a number there, which you are not sure, you add the length of the array. So now, if I save this, it is no longer printing undefined, because even though and if I add something here, say I later add another thing here, and save it, it has printed that one. So this is a perfect way of telling the array or the loop when to stop. Stop when it is less than the length of the array. Any question? Any question before we move on? If you don't have any question, drop a thumbs up so I know to move on to the next thing. Any question? If there is no question, drop a thumbs up. Okay. Okay. Any other person apart from the course rate? And I think there are people here I've never heard their voice before, like Juliana. Okay, I've heard everyone's voice. Fakile, Yabi Temitope. I don't think I've heard their voice before, but before the end of the class, we'll treat that. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Conditionals. I'll comment this out. All right. Conditionals. Conditionals are more like you check for something before you do something. For example, let's say I want to go and play football with my friend. So I am the owner of the ball and we want to go and play football. My friend is in his house. So I need to go to his house and call him so that we'll go and play football. Now, there are two things there. If I go to his house and I see him, then we'll go and play football. If I go to his house, I see him, and he agrees to go out, then we'll go and play football. If I go to his house and I see him, and he agrees, and it is not raining, then we'll go and play football. So now there are three conditions under which must be fulfilled, before we go out and play that football. The first condition is my friend needs to be around. He must be in the house before we go and play football. The second condition is that if I ask him, he has to agree before we go and play the football. The third condition there is that if I ask him, he agrees, and it is not raining, because if it's raining, we can't go out. So it is not raining, then we can go and play football. So that is conditionals for you. You want to do something, but before you do it, you need to check certain conditions if they are fulfilled before you do it. For example, let's say you are building a website that credits people airtime. They pay them airtime. Before you are going to give them airtime in their mobile phone, you need to check whether the transaction has actually deducted the money from the account. So that is how is one condition. Before I credit you airtime, I need to be sure that the software has actually deducted money from your account before I can credit you. So that is conditions. Now there are so many conditions used in the website. So many. One of which is when you want to log into a website. If you put in your phone number and password, it's going to do so many things to check. First, it's going to, you're going to build it, but let me just tell you. First, it's going to check whether you have an account with them. If you have an account with them, it will proceed. But if you don't have an account with them, it will tell you, no, this user account does not exist. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you have an account, it will proceed to check your password and check if the password you entered is matching the password that is on the database. If it matches, it will then log you in. But if it doesn't match, it will tell you incorrect password. So this is conditionals. And as a backend developer, you will use conditionals a lot. You use conditionals a lot. So I may not mention all of those places where I use conditions, but I'm just trying to explain condition. There are so many areas you might want to use condition. So don't expect that what I teach you about condition is the only thing about conditions. No, there are so many areas you can use conditionals. You can use conditionals in so many cases. Which other case can I mention? So many cases. I can't really mention them, but in so many cases. But let's start small. I'll say const A is equal to 5. Now, conditionals, you can also call them if or else statements. If or else statements. That's what you can call it. If my friend is around, else we will not play. If my friend is around and he agrees, we'll play. Else we will not play. If my friend is around and he agrees and it's not raining, then we'll play. Else we will not play. So that's what it's sometimes it's called if or else statements, but the full name, the real name is conditionals. So I can say if A is less than 7, print out yes. So this is a simple condition, a simple one. I have a variable called A, and the value of that variable is 5. And I am checking if that variable is less than 7, print out yes. If I save this, it is printing out yes. Why? Because this variable has a value of 5 and 5 is less than 7. But if I change this to 10 and save it, now it's no longer printing out 10. Why? Because the value of this variable is 10 and 10 is not less than 7. But if I increase this to 10 and save it, it is still not printing out 10 because the value of this variable is 10 and we are checking, is 10 less than 10? No, 10 is not less than 10, so it's not printing it out. We can add another one and say plus and it is printing out because the value of this variable is 10. It's checking, is less than 10? No. But is 10 equal to 10? Yes. Then it turned out yes. So this is a simple condition. Now, we can take one step forward and say add the else part. So the else part is the it prints out alternative. So we are checking here the condition here. Oh my god, I think my network is slow again. Okay. If anybody can hear me, who Dennis, Wisdom, Cynthia, if you can hear me, please unmute and tell me you can hear me. I think my network is slow and it's actually raining, so I don't know. Okay, nice back. Okay, is back.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the word is back. But can you see my screen? Bisola, can you see my screen? Maybe I'll stop sharing. I'll stop sharing and then share again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I stopped that. Let me share now. All right. So confirm that you can see my screen. Confirm again that you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Please drop a
Yes.
thumbs up so I know you can see my screen. All right. Thank you. So here we have a simple condition. Now, conditions can be very big and it can be very long. It can be very big and it can be very long, but we are starting small. Here we have a variable, the value is 12, and we are checking if the value of this variable is less than 10, print out console log, else print out no. Yeah, I want to confirm that it's actually recording. Yes, it is. So from what I have explained so far, what do you think it will print? Will it print out yes or no from these conditionals? Will it print out yes or no? No. No. Okay. Yes. Now, the value is 10. Sorry, the value is 12. 12 is not less than 10. So it will break out of this and print out no. Why am I getting this first? Yeah. That is a simple conditionals. Now you can do another conditionals and say something like const message is equal to successful. And here I will say if message is equal to successful, console log, what do I console log? Monday. Let's try Monday. Else console log Tuesday. So I have another conditionals. There's going to be so many conditionals. What do you think? Now, for those who don't really understand, these are operators, logical operators, and we use them in so many cases. Let me just write all of them out. Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, double equals, triple equals. I'm going to explain the difference between double equals and triple equals. So here, equal to is used, a single equal to is used to assign value. A single equal to is used to assign value. A double or a triple equal is used to compare values. So now we are comparing, is the left hand side equal to the right hand side? That's what we're doing with double equals. We can also do it with triple equals, but there's a difference between the two of them. The value of message is the string successful. So we are saying if the value of message is equal to successful, then print out this. Okay, I think the network is fluctuating again. network waiting a bit. Okay, we're back. We're back. Sorry, the bad network. Okay, we're back now. Drop a thumbs up if you can hear me now. Drop thumbs up so I know you can hear me now. All right, thank you. So I was just trying to explain. Maybe I will leave this part, then we'll talk about it in our next class. But let's use just another variable b equal to 10 to actually demo something. B is equal to 10 CLG yes else CLG no. So I want to use this one to explain the double equals and the triple equal. Looking at this, what do you think it will print? Yes or no? The double equal is for comparison. The triple equal is also for comparison. So I'm comparing, is the value of B equal to 10? What do you think it will print? Yes or no? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, yes, yes, yes. So whenever you see double equals or triple equals, we are comparing. But a single equals, we are assigning. Now, there is a difference between double equals and triple equals. For example, if I change this to triple equal and save, it's still printing out yes. But if I change this, it will say no.
Please, can someone stay here?
Okay, we are back. We are back. Sorry, it has been raining and it is still raining. So what will happen is I'll stop here. I was going to explain the difference between double equals and triple equals and also demo that. But do I have? Yeah, today's class is kind of messy. So we'll stop here for today. And that would mean that on Saturday, we're going to have a serious class because now we are having a carryover to Saturday. So we'll stop here for today and take questions. Do we have any questions? Does anybody want to say anything? Yeah, it's a crazy weather. But don't complain about the weather. I like the weather like that because I can't deal with that heat. Do you know what heat did to me this year? Was it this year? Oh my God. I don't want to experience that again. Yeah, let it rain. Let it rain. Let there be rain. It's just that it's affecting the network, but it's fine. Let it rain. I would prefer the rain to the heat. Yeah. You don't know what heat did to me. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was as if I wasn't myself. And as a matter of fact, as a developer, you can't code until the whole of your body or your system is together, is at peace or at rest. I find it that way that I can't code unless I have the whole of my body in one piece. So even if it's a single scratch on my skin, oh no, I can't code again. I need to be relaxed and calm. And in a hot weather, you can't do that. It's only in a cool weather you can do that. You relax and cool, put on Netflix, you'll be playing on the background and you're coding gradually. You want the music, you put the music, and the weather is so cool. Yes, the heat dealt with us, both old and young. It dealt with us, and we don't want to go there again. It doesn't want to take questions. So, what can be done to stabilize network? In Nigeria, you have no control over the network. I have friends that use Starlink, they complain. I have friends that use IPS, they complain. We all complain about network. There is absolutely nothing you can do. Nothing. The weather affects it, but if we have better infrastructure, I think it will be better. But so there's nothing you can do on network. It affects everybody. So, and it's not allowing us to take questions. So we're going to say our goodbye here before it goes off again. But if you have a question, drop your questions now before we say goodbye. I just explained the thing about grades now. Your grade for every assessment is over 10. Every assessment is over 10. So if I drop your name without any complaint, without anything by the side, then you got 10 marks. But if I add anything, just know that the marks has reduced like that. So that's the difference. And when it comes to coding, coding is not like what is it called? Essay. You're not writing essay where you can get 5 marks or 10 marks. If I say display a button and you got you've, and it's not showing. How do I explain? Not just the button. I gave like an assignment to replicate the whole of this thing. Yeah, if you get it, it's fine. But if you miss out some part of it, you failed it. So it's not like essay where you are getting 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. No, I might give you 8 or 10. So it is either 8 or 10. And for coding, it's coding. You get it or you don't get it. There is no in between. Even if it's not perfect, you're still getting 10 marks. So long as it came out well, you're still getting 10 marks. It's very perfect, you still get 10 marks. But anything less than that, there is no 2 marks, 3 marks. No, no, no. Yes. I will look at the week 3 assignment after this class today, and I'll finish that up. Yeah. All right. Corrections, I think we've been, for the assignments that we have touched, we've actually had corrections. And for the week 3 one, for the week 3, which is to replicate that design, I don't know if we might do that correction because we've actually moved on from HTML and CSS. We're going to do HTML and CSS once again, but that will be the final. But we've moved on from HTML and CSS, so I don't know if we might repeat the corrections, but that's fine. If we don't, I might find somebody's code which is fine and then share that with you. Yes, assignment for the week will come in tomorrow or Tuesday. The same thing with the recordings might come in tomorrow or Tuesday too. So in order than that, you can drop a thumbs up so that we end today's class. See you again on Saturday. If you have any question, anything whatsoever, ask it, tag the course rep, the 2 of them, they will reply you. Tag me also, I will also reply to you. And also don't send me your assignment privately because I might miss it because I don't usually read. I had a course today. A lot of persons were saying, oh, you don't even pick calls normally. So then blocking your line shows it has nothing on you. You don't actually pick calls. So blocking your line is just nothing. All right. Bye, guys. See you again on Saturday.